Back at home, more unhinged, meaningless rhetoric from elected Democrats. Take a look.
I wish people would look at the fact that you have a president of the United States who consistently is obsessing over two women of color that are members of the House.
All right, we've got Jasmine Crockett's full rant coming up later in the show. But just to be clear, this kind of vitriol is nonstop from elected Democrats. They literally have nothing else to offer this country. Now, of course, the most frequent smears involve some kind of Nazi or Hitler comparison. But on MSDNC, a shocking display of gaslighting. Nicole Wallace and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker agreed. Democrats, they've never, ever made such vile comparisons, that we made it all up. Take a look.
I haven't suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't
that
think any Democrat has. I actually, and I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics.
I've never suggested that. I don't think any Democrat has. We're now reaching insane levels of total, complete dishonesty on the left. There's a disconnect from reality. Let's go back to the videotape. In fact, Governor Pritzker himself is constantly comparing the Trump administration to Nazi Germany. He does this almost every single week. We will remind him he must be suffering from Joe Biden-itis. Take a look.
I studied the Holocaust. I helped to build a Holocaust museum. This is what happened in the early days of the Nazi regime in Germany. Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. It doesn't take very long to tear apart a constitutional republic. Indeed, the Nazis did it in 53 days. And our democracy is almost as fragile. And we're seeing it right now. The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. People have criticized me for talking about the Nazi regime. It's the one I know most about because I helped to build a Holocaust museum. This is what happened. People's rights started getting taken away. People got accused of being immigrants. This is before the Holocaust really took place. There are lots of authoritarians that I could point to. It happens that I know best because I helped build a Holocaust museum sitting next to Holocaust survivors about what the Nazis did in those early years.
No, I understand that.
I'm not talking about the Holocaust. I'm talking about what they were doing, taking away people's rights, arresting people, asking them for papers. Early on in an authoritarian regime, wherever it is in the world throughout history, this is what happens. It's the beginning of something very bad for our country.
Nah, he's never used Nazi comparisons at all. And it's not just Pritzker. Pretty much everyone in the Democratic Party loves to throw around Nazi references. Take a look.
We have a Timu Hitler in the White House right now.
I don't even know what to call him. I've called him so many things. But this wannabe Hitler, for sure.
Comparing the tactics of Donald Trump to Mussolini and Hitler is a very legitimate thing.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
He is paving the way to become a Vladimir Putin or to become an Adolf Hitler or a Kim Jong-un. That's what he wants to be.
Is that not going too far to make a comparison between the President of the United States and the Nazis?
Find me a better analogy.
Well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right.
Right? And so all of a sudden, somebody with those tendencies, those dictatorial, authoritarian tendencies would be like, oh, okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to throw these people in jail. And they didn't usually telegraph that. Trump is telling us what he intends to do.
This is a very dark, vengeful time in the Democratic Party. In fact, that's why Democrats continue to shut down our federal government. This is all one big, angry Trump derangement syndrome stunt in order to gain some kind of political leverage. And they're saying it. Yeah, we know people will suffer, but we need the leverage over Donald Trump and prove that they can stand up to Donald Trump, the president they detest so much. Take a look.
Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use, it's gotten us focused on what we have to do to change direction on health care.
At the very same time, Democrats are once again lying about the shutdown. It's the Schumer shutdown. They're trying to blame Trump while voting 13 times to keep the government closed. Last week, they specifically voted against funding our military, brave men and women that put their lives on the line for us. Today, they specifically voted against funding federal SNAP benefits and food assistance programs. As of Saturday, they are completely out of money. That will impact over 42 million Americans. But according to one Democrat who voted to keep the government closed, it's all President Trump's fault. Figure that out.
There's nothing stopping the Trump administration from making sure that every single one of the 42 million Americans, 16 million children, 8 million seniors, 4 million people with disabilities, 1.2 million veterans receive nutrition assistance in November.
All right, the American people, they're not dumb. Everything will go back to normal if Democrats simply vote for a clean, nonpartisan, continuing resolution which funds the government at current levels. This is a crisis caused by the Democratic Party that said they were all against shutdowns. Schumer's whole career was against shutdowns. If Republicans, in fact, are actually surging in the polls as they are, well, let's take a look. 28 days into the shutdown, this isn't working for the Democrats. It's backfiring big time tonight. Take a look.
Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown.
All right. So why does the government remain closed? Well, the answer is pretty telling. Democrats aren't doing this for the good of the country or to be popular across the country. Instead, they are playing to their radical socialist base that wants to burn it all down, transform America into the socialist utopia with free buses, free housing, health care, and whatever else Zoran, commie, Marxist Mamdani is offering. Take a look.
Here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line and make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease. And we are going to create universal child care at no cost to parents.
That is their new fearless leader. So let me get this straight. The party that wants everything to be free voted today to take away food benefits from 42 million Americans, including the sick, the elderly, and young children. Now, there's one thing that Comrade Marxist Mamdani doesn't want the government to pay for. That would be the police. There's one thing Mamdani doesn't want to have happen, and he doesn't even want the police. Send in the social workers. According to a vile 2023 anti-Semitic rant from Mamdani, the NYPD is actually, don't tell anybody, they're controlled by Israel's IDF. Take a look.
For anyone to care about these issues, we have to make them hyperlocal. We have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF.
There's the guy that's going to be the next mayor of New York City, the leader of the NYPD. And by the way, this wasn't some kind of one-off comment. Let's take a look down, Mamdani history, if you will. This is from 2020. His words. Quote, queer liberation means defund the police, and quote, we don't need an investigation to know that the NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. What we need is to defund the NYPD, not to fake cuts, defund the police. Here's another tweet, quote, defund the harem police. Another, in New York City, 99% of office holders are Democrats, yet they refuse to defund cops who murder with impunity. Electing Democrats isn't enough. We need a political revolution. Another, quote, together we can tax the rich, heal the sick, house the poor, defund the police, build a socialist New York, solidarity forever. Now, that should be disqualifying, but sadly, it now perfectly represents the new radicalized Democratic Party. In fact, it's not really the Democratic Party anymore. Instead, there are two factions, the Socialists that hate our American way of life, and then there's the performative Democrats who are clinging to power, bowing at the altar of the radicals, desperate to placate them and soothe that radical base so they can at least be leaders in name only, like Chucky Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Dark days indeed for the Democratic Party lay ahead.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.